Welcome to One Piece Talks, Road Poneglyph.
We are live.
We are live, so we got a special event for you today. Now, it's today for us, but this will be like a 1 week separation for you, but we're going to do the final volume of Impel
Why are you
Down.
spoiling it now?
Huh?
Why are you spoiling it now? They can just find out when they get to the next week.
No, they should be excited. It's
Yeah.
called previewing and like advertisement for your cool project thing.
Yeah, you don't know nothing.
It's called marketing, Joe.
It's called
Why
marketing.
are you an idiot? I'm sorry.
Yes, that's what I wanted to say. We're doing the final volume of Impel Down now, and we're also going to do all of the Paramount War in one video, and I'll explain why when we get there, because it'll make more sense if it's on that video.
It was a birthday.
Yes, well, in a way. Okay, so where we last left off, the boys were in Impel Down when we had the hope of getting Ace saved before he even gets to the execution platform. But alas, that did not pan out. But there was still some amazing storytelling in between. So our first big event of this section is Blackbeard arriving into Impel Down.
Yeah, and I'm just like, is this gonna be where we get the first Luffy Blackbeard duel? I was very scared when he showed up.
Yeah, like the situation's already so dire because Ace is about to get taken, and you just add this new element, which is very similar to what happens in Marineford, where Blackbeard is just such a scary presence to show up mid-arc. And there's huge chaos at this point. Like the Straw Hat gang is moving upwards. The Impel Down staff is kind of like fractured. But you get this setup where Luffy's moving upwards, Blackbeard's moving downwards, and Magellan I think is somewhere in between. Or no, yeah I think so.
Magellan is like coming back up, like, but I don't know. It's weird.
Yeah. And shit pops off. We got Shiryu here. But I wanted to talk about this triple attack, first of all, is really cool.
Oh my god.
My boy's out here slaying.
See, this is another one of those panels where it's like if you showed it to someone 400 chapters ago, they would have been like, are you fucking serious?
They'd be like,
they might not know who Jinbei is,
Yeah.
but if they see Crocodile and Luffy fighting together, they're like, what?
They'd be like, who's the guy on the right? But it's so cool.
You know what's great about this? I realized just now is that it's the complete opposite side of the spread previous to it.
What do you mean?
Like if you look the page spread beforehand, you're looking at the three animal guards as they're attacking, and then the next page it's Luffy and them attacking the animal guards back.
Yeah. As we move on, we're approaching here. What we're getting to is the Luffy versus Blackbeard little engagement. But if y'all have anything worth noting as we go through here, let me know. Because I wanted to note, like, I think this is the first time we see female Ivankov.
Yeah, and this chapter I think is just straight up called Straw Hat and Blackbeard or some shit.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, like they're at least gonna maybe see each other this chapter, right? Because at this point, I think Luffy in this volume learns that, oh my god, Blackbeard is that guy from was it?
He learns it this chapter.
Yeah.
Yeah, Luffy learns it.
Yeah.
So actually, before that, there is one very important point, which is Hannibal's final stand here. Definitely want to talk about that. But before we jump away from female Ivankov real quick, there was one thing I wanted to mention, I think last talk, about the Okama, and that, like, One Piece is so about free spirit, and I feel like Oda really likes to portray the Okama as, like, the embodiment of that, because they'll just be whatever, like, fuck gender and norms, they're just gonna dress up all weird and go have fun. So I really like that aspect of them. However, Sanji's cover story, which we just passed a second ago, that one sucks. Because it's just a bunch of Okama chasing Sanji to sexually harass him. It's like, cool, Oda. Nice backstep. But it's Sanji, and Sanji sucks 30% of the time, so that it is what it is.
He had it coming.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I
Hannibal,
think it's funny, but I agree.
it kind of steps on like the goodwill that Oda has put, and like they're just so caricature-y. Anyways, Hannibal's final stand is really cool because I feel like he fits into a similar vein as like T-Bone and Wanze, but even
Yeah.
better, where he's like, if I let you guys through, all these people are gonna be worried that these ruthless pirates are out in sea again and they won't be able to sleep at night. And you're like, the other day, like Bradley said, if you work at Impel Down, you're a bad person. And I feel like this challenges that because like Hannibal
No,
really.
I stand by it. Like you can lock people up and deal out justice without having a boiling cauldron of blood and torturing people.
But like deterrence, I mean, I don't agree with it, but I can see how they got to this point where it's like you hear hell stories about Impel Down, or you go into Impel Down, and then eventually you your sentence ends, and you're like, oh, I'm not gonna be a pirate. I'm not going back there. That place sucked. I swam in blood, and it was boiling.
Literal hell.
But so I just think it's important to show Hannibal's like motivation here because it's like we rarely get to see why people join the Marine side, or the world government, and like, you really do get the sense that Hannibal, as like goofy of a character as he is, because like I want to be the warden gimmick, he truly cares about his justice, and he does care about like the well-being of the people outside of this prison, and he believes in what they're doing here, so he's very for the boiling cauldrons.
Yeah, like a powerful moment, I think, near the end of the previous volume is, in the volume before this, we had beat after beat of him just kind of trying to sabotage the, like, jailer's team because he's like, oh, what'll make Magellan look bad, and that will kind of elevate my position, blah, 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 blah. So we get beat after beat of that, and then the volume is punctuated by this moment where Luffy is actually maybe about to reach Ace, and he finally flips. He's like, oh my god, I actually need to do something. And that just shows, how important what this like war that's about to happen is, and that, even he recognizes it. He'll set his agenda aside because he recognizes, like, okay, enough fun and games. Like, if he reaches Ace, that could actually, be part of the end of the world.
And I feel like it goes beyond setting an agenda aside because, especially this page here, where he's like, even his underlings are like, dude, stop, he's gonna kill you, because Luffy's just beating the shit out of this dude, and he stands his ground, and he really does flip this arc on its head a little bit, especially when you get to like what Blackbeard does when he gets to level 6, where it's like, oh, cool, Luffy's rescuing his brother, yeah, fuck everyone else, but in the process, he's releasing a bunch of cutthroat pirates and ruining the outside world for his selfish goal of saving Ace. And I feel like Hannibal's a really cool way to highlight that.
It'd be terrible if during this time a ruthless somebody got out and joined or formed a pirate crew that might hinder Luffy in the future.
Yo.
Speaking of, Blackbeard shows up, and after Hannibal's speech, which I find quite moving, Blackbeard just stomps the shit out of him. It's like such a good introduction to this guy. It's like, oh, fuck your ideals. I'm Blackbeard. Mm-hmm. I'm the scummiest guy. And we get the inevitable Luffy Blackbeard encounter, and yeah, look at these foil boys.
Look at these dudes.
I love this panel. I think it's really cool.
Yeah, it's so good.
I want Luffy to grab some of that chest hair and just rip it out.
Just yank it right out.
I think it's interesting that the last time that these two met, Blackbeard was like on his knees or sitting down talking to Luffy, but now he's standing up and towering over him, and he's in more position of power than Luffy ever was, or Luffy is currently.
Yeah, you're right, because the last time they met, well, they kind of met when he was trying to attack the ship, but then the knock-up stream kind of ended that encounter. But before that, it's him sitting down talking about how men's dreams will never die.
And he doesn't have a bounty. Like, no one knows who Blackbeard is. Like, the only one that's looking for him is Ace, really.
Yeah.
and now he's a 7 warlord of the sea. So
Yeah,
that short time, Blackbeard, you could say, almost towers above Luffy in stature.
yeah,
comparatively.
and like physically he does too. And this is one of the times where I like Oda's playing of body of like size proportions, because having Blackbeard tower over Luffy like this just looks really cool, and it's
Yeah.
not as ridiculous as some other characters get in height. So I think this is a good height. Though there's no telling if Blackbeard will remain this size throughout the story, or if Oda's just gonna fuck it up and make him fucking huge. This SBS had a really cool thing about Saldeth's trident being a flute that
Yeah.
he uses to control the Blue Gory or command them. I thought that was really cool. It's such a small detail. I'm glad that a fan caught it. And
It is quite cool.
Oda's the Goda. What can I say? All right, what do we got next? Looks like now we're heading to Magellan versus the Blackbeard Pirates, if you can call it that.
Yeah.
So, Luffy, Jinbei, and Crocodile advise Luffy to just not fight right now. They gotta go get Ace, even though Luffy gets a punch in. Blackbeard does show off his fruit by hurting Luffy despite of his rubber, because as we recall,
Yeah.
his fruit negates other devil fruits if he touches you. But yeah, Jinbei, the ever smart and focused fishman, stops Luffy and they part ways, which leads to Magellan showing up right beneath them and then just one-shotting the entire crew.
Yeah, you kind of expect Blackbeard to make a huge play here, and you're thinking like, oh, Oda's probably about to flex the power of this growing pseudo main antagonist, like he's just gonna wipe the floor with Magellan, who's been kicking our heroes' asses this whole time.
Yeah.
But no, like he is also a little too big for his britches here. Like he totally gets destroyed by Magellan.
I really like this because, like, when maybe the first time you're reading this, you could be like, oh, Magellan's so unstoppable, Oda's going to resolve this by having Blackbeard take care of the problem, and it'll be, like, kind of a weird finale. But no, Magellan's just a fucking beast. He one-shots the main antagonist of the series and kills them. In this arc, he pretty much killed Luffy and Blackbeard, if not for very fortunate circumstances for them. And he's so quick too. He's just like, get out of my way, and then walks past him. And then he gives. So Magellan has some really nice beats here where he sees Sadie tied up, and he's getting angrier and angrier, and then he gets to Hannibal beaten to a pulp, and he gives him like the words that I think Hannibal would have always wanted to hear.
Yeah.
You're the only one fit to succeed me. It's like, oh, that's really wholesome, dude. I just met
Hell
you
yeah.
guys. And I'm really glad that like you guys have developed this way. But now Magellan's fucking pissed. Like this is personal now. He even like yells out to Straw Hat. So that'll be fun to see how that goes.
On the SBS on the previous chapter, I usually recognize the characters of the fan art, but I'm not sure who the characters were on that one.
Oh. Joe, do you know? I don't want to go back.
I'll look at them. Hold on.
Maybe I can go forward.
Those are Papa, Son, and Saitama is what it says on the side. I don't know who these people are. It might be filler people from the anime.
I was about to say, like, usually I can recognize the characters, but I was like, I have no idea who the fuck they are.
Send me a picture, Joe, and I'll see.
Yeah, I got you.
Okay, so next up, so Magellan's on their tail, and we get Ivankov and Inazuma versus Magellan, which is really badass. Ivankov puts in work, but Magellan ultimately beats them because they're alternating all the genders here.
Yeah, this motherfucker's still undefeated. Like, he's
MVP.
so good.
MVP.
Really like this panel of like the aura stabby fingers. And then like he just pops out of the ground with the Venom Road and Inazuma. This is so cool using like the rocks to try to contain Magellan.
Yeah.
You cannot stop this man though. This is the GOAT. I think Joe just sent it to me. Let's see if I can recognize these characters. Oh, you sent it on Discord. Someone talk quick.
Man, I really like how Oda draws people's eyes popping out of their head and teeth popping out of their heads all the time.
that is a really good, especially this bottom page. These are characters from the new Kama Kingdom.
Oh,
Are they?
Yeah. From
okay,
last
cool.
volume. Yeah.
but
Okay.
they're pretty.
Yeah.
Well, I
they
mean,
were,
yeah.
they were pretty.
Oh,
Cool.
I thought-
It wasn't
I thought you were
prison
talking
that pretty.
No, I thought you were talking about Kamabaka Kingdom from the Sanji cover
No,
story.
no, the new Kamabaka Kingdom's the one in 5.5. So
Oh, okay,
these
there we
are
go.
people from there.
Oh.
But they're pretty.
Yeah, I thought you were talking about the Sanji one.
What a weird conversation to have.
And then, okay, so this is really fun. Mr. 3 turns out to be the ace in the hole for handling the Magellan situation because he can create large volumes of impenetrable wax walls, which is just great. Is this? So there is a little panel here where, if I could only find it, Luffy's words, like the text bubble, pierces Boogie's heart.
Oh yeah, it's on the panel where the eyes are popping out of their head.
Yes.
Bottom left hand corner.
This is so cute. Oda hasn't really done anything like that
It's
before.
like, no, he was nice to us.
Stop being so nice. But yeah, which leads us to Mr. 3 and Magellan versus Luffy as the climactic fight of the arc. Who would have fucking thought? And Luffy gets mech'd out with his candle armor.
And some Foxy vibes here.
Some big Foxy vibes. Luffy says, "Thanks for making me look cool."
I know, right? I love when Luffy does like the meme glare eyes. It's always fun.
Yeah, Luffy loves mechs and shit. So this is neat. I don't know.
Yeah, he loves his
Luffy's just
lasers
a
and
story
robots.
boy going on an adventure. That's it.
Yeah,
He loves his mechs, he loves lasers.
I don't know how the fuck he knows what a mech is, since that's new technology. But let's not question that. Luffy can now hit Magellan, but that's not quite enough. Meanwhile, Jinbei needs to procure the ship so they can actually escape the place. So we got a double situation going here.
And this just starts like a long chain of events where Jinbei is like the ultimate clutch, man.
Yeah. What did you think, like, when you opened this page and there's no ships around? Like, did you have any idea, like, how else they could escape?
Yeah, initially I was like, well, I guess they're just gonna have to hope someone comes and picks them up.
Yeah. But no, Jinbei's a man of action. Look at this. Yeah. I love this. Carrying everyone on this door. Oh.
And Boogie's doing such a good job making himself look cool because in that pose, I'm like, damn, he looks badass.
Boogie's cool, dude. And then you get to see his thoughts, and you're like, oh wait, Boogie's
he's actually a fucking douchebag.
So
this oh god, Boogie's so good. Sorry.
Man, okay, so Jinbei he lays down the wood, and he's like, all right, I'm gonna handle this. The ocean current throw is when I was like, oh wait, fishmen have the coolest power sets in this series because they can manipulate water. That's my favorite power.
It's really cool.
So
this him grabbing the water like a sheet and like pulling it is so cool looking and conceptually it's great.
It might be the coolest conceptual attack. And I feel like this was a little practice for a certain Whitebeard attack that he does in Marineford.
Yeah.
Where he also grabs a non-physical object. Yeah, so he launches Crocodile and Mr. 1 into the battleship, and they just go to town.
And Buggy. Don't forget Buggy.
No, Boogie's irrelevant here. He launches Crocodile and Mr. 1.
Yeah.
And he almost destroys the ship with this water spear wave attack, which is just super dope. And so if I already didn't love Jinbei's personality, his power set makes me love him more. So I'm a little Jinbei bitch. What can I say?
Yeah, and this is why he's a fucking warlord of the sea. On top of being such a powerhouse, like in a world where, devil fruit users can't go in the ocean, fighting that guy while you're stuck on a pirate ship would be really horrifying.
Yeah, he mentions earlier in the arc that he's like nerfed on land. So you get to see just how strong he is in this little section here. Yeah. So clutch. I love this cover page right here.
This cover page is so good. I'm like, hey, it's the new Straw Hats.
The new and improved Straw Hats. Go to Wano. Yeah. So the fight continues, and Magellan pulls out my favorite move that he's got, which he creates the devil as a stand made of poison.
It looks so cool.
Judgment of Hell. This is really cool because the poison spreads as it touches people, and it seems almost corrosive. It becomes basically an acid at this point. It's not mentioned enough, but the effect of Crocodile Sand attacks is just mwah. They look so neat. Mr. One doing Sanji moves. Shit's popping off. Ivankov can't really move, so he just has to wink himself into locations, which is pretty cute.
Look at his head.
Yeah, hold on. I think I had something to say about this page.
I wonder what it is.
I don't know. But listen, those are some powerful winks.
Oh, it's like the dramatic irony of they're talking about like how dangerous Magellan is, and like they're like, okay, we gotta wait for Luffy and the rest to get here, and then we can just bounce off because they got the ship. But then you get this sliding panel of like, oh, Magellan's right here and he's more dangerous than ever. We gotta get the fuck out right now. Which leads to the final little encounter, which is Luffy holding back Magellan while Ivankov launches everyone to the ships. Well, not necessarily the ships. These friendly whales that Jinbei summoned. And then
boys.
He's Aquaman talking, going like mwah 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 mwah.
Which all the fishmen have like types. Wasn't Jinbei a whale shark type?
He's a whale shark fishman.
Okay.
Yeah. Now, Luffy points out later, it's like, oh, I thought only mermaids could summon fish. Or like, I think mermaids can like control fish with their voice. I think Jinbei is just friends with these whales.
Yeah. He's chums.
While this is all happening, we're getting a bunch of like Straw Hat cover stories. What do you think about like the locations all the Straw Hats are currently in, Bradley?
Some of them are quite fun, and I feel like some of them are like much more relevant for world building than others. Like for example, isn't Frankie in like fucking Vegapunk's lab?
He's in Vegapunk's hometown, which...
That's right.
Yeah. Sanji's in the Newkama Kingdom, so that's where Ivankov would be, I believe, or would be from. Nami's in a Sky Island. Chopper's just in a weird...
Chopper's Doctrine.
Chopper's Doctrine, yeah. His is like the weirdest place to me because it's like an island that's high-tech but tribal.
Yeah.
And yeah, I honestly don't remember how this really... contributes to his training show, but whatever.
Like, okay, look at this fucking panel where Luffy and me are holding each other, and Mr. 3 is like so happy, and they're like, "We escaped from Impel down." I'm like, that's a fucking panel that exists.
Oh, yeah, that's so cute. But you know, they still gotta get through the door. So how are they gonna get through this door?
Man, I love how intimidating that door is.
Yeah. I believe there's 3 of them, right? There's one for each of the major facilities.
Yeah, Annie's Lobby, Impel Down, and Marineford.
Yeah.
One of those doors is... Never mind.
And we get to the post-escape and Bon Clay sacrifice, where he disguises himself as Magellan to order the gates to be open.
You know, I've always heard that, especially from Willer and my brother, that, you know, Bon Clay is one of like the best characters in all of One Piece. I know he's a very beloved character, and I was always like, oh, he's really cool, and he's like he was definitely one of the coolest members of Baroque Works, but I was like, you know, he's cool, but maybe not top 20. But then after this moment, I was like, I get it. So what a hero. Holy shit.
Bon Clay, the GOAT. This whole arc...
Any last words?
Satisfaction.
Oh, so good.
So good.
Yeah, let me get to that page because I definitely want that page.
Dude, and they weep for him, man.
Man, even like shit-ass Boogie is like, oh my god, you're such a hero.
Right?
And Mickey's crying too.
Oh.
Mickey?
Yeah, Mickey Mouse is in the background next to Boogie.
The fuck? What? You mean
Keep going.
You mean this guy?
Yeah, that guy. But like his ears are colored in the panel, so he looks like a guy wearing a Mickey Mouse hat.
Mickey Mouse.
Mickey
But
Mouse.
I just really love how Luffy genuinely is so thankful of Bon Clay here, and like he really deserves it. And you get this poetic final moment with Bon Clay, which is very reminiscent of like his poetic final moment with Hina at the end of Alabasta. Except this one is a lot scarier and a lot more important of a sacrifice.
Any last words satisfaction is like I'm getting goosebumps. Like that's got to be an iconic line.
That's how That's how I want to go out. This is.
And, you know,
I feel like this is a forgotten line. It's not brought up as much as I think it
Yeah.
should because it's so badass.
And everyone remembers the moment. I don't think like this specific panel setting doesn't get called out a lot, but
It absolutely
Yeah.
should.
And you know, when this happened, I think I was talking to you guys about it, and you know, this is something we keep coming back to. This like theme that was I kind of first introduced when we first met Aokiji, where you know, it's possible that as Luffy continues his journey, it's not going to always be easy. He's not always just going to be able to succeed, save everybody, help everyone. And you know, we've met a character that's happened to, Moria. You know, he lost everyone, and it totally broke him.
Yeah.
And you know, we've been pushing Luffy more and more. These fights get a little bit harder. It's more and more often that he just barely scrapes by these encounters. And you know, for the first time here, he totally had to leave an ally behind. Because whenever we learned that Bond had to stay behind and Impel down, like just instinctually, I fully expected Luffy to somehow just grapple back to Impel down, save Bon Clay, and grapple back to the ship. But, you know, us and Luffy and Jinbei, we all realize that for once that's not going to happen. Luffy has to leave Bond behind.
Well said, man. Yeah, like I'm glad you touched on that because this build up to this theme of loss is going to be capped off with Marineford, and it's been a theme that's been built up since the Foxy arc. So I
Long Island.
Long Island, not so bad after all. We're gonna explain
Right?
why, but I'm gonna save the big spiel for that for the Marineford section of our talk. But this is definitely a great collaborating point to that rising theme that's been present. And Luffy
So
handles
far-
this really maturely.
Yeah, so
things-
far in my read through of half of One Piece, this is a top 5 moment right here.
Absolutely. And like man, Luffy's character development has been subtle. Like it's a long series, but so it's slow but noticeable. Like Luffy's a fairly static character, but I mean static characters still can change over time. And Luffy, you can feel like he's not the same kid that was in the East Blue saga, you know? Like this is pretty different.
Yeah, and you know, every once in a while, just like scrolling through Reddit comments or something, because like any time anything relating to pirates, even remotely relating to pirates, comes up, inevitably someone in the comments will bring up One Piece.
Yeah.
And you know, sometimes you'll see people shit on One Piece, calling it too kiddie, or someone who I feel like obviously has not read One Piece will be like, people try to act like this 1,000 episode, 1,000 chapter thing is like about people trying to find a treasure is peak fiction, and I'm like, dude, if you read what we just read,
You would
like,
know.
you would know. You would know.
The only people who don't like One Piece are people who haven't read To Arlong. Like that's literally it. If you don't like One Piece, it's not a taste thing. No one dislikes One Piece. Okay.
Yeah, because like, you know, the first time I ever tried One Piece, I got through about Sanji, and I was like, yeah, this is a little baby kid show. And then now I'm like, man, I feel like adults need therapy after some moments in this story.
The manga certainly helps,
Yeah.
but like you might not love One Piece, but I think everyone like you're forced to respect it at this point because
Yeah, holy shit.
you could argue like, man, 1,000 episodes, chapters. It must be like Detective Conan, where the plot never moves. No, there has been like no filler. It's so lean. It's so muscular.
Oh yeah.
There's no
And
fat.
we're
on it.
just now getting to like the like really
Plot.
close to like the end of the series plot, and like it feels like remarkable. It doesn't make any sense. It feels like I feel like it just was in like Water 7 the other day. It's just strange. Like you just go.
Yeah, it's the Oda is just a legend, man. Like I may get angry at him sometimes for his decisions, but his brain operates on a level that other humans do not, and it's just great. I hope he's all right because he's taking a 2-week break right now because he's a little sick, and I hope he's all right.
And then Blackbeard recruits Shiryu.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which, you know, I think whenever they were first talking to him in his cell, they were like discussing like we temporarily release you for cooperation, some shit like that. And I was like, he's never going back in that cell. I'm like,
I glossed over it. I did write it down. In that scene where he gets released, as soon as the call with Magellan finishes, he kills the guards.
Oh yeah, and then I'm like, obviously, since he has a sword and this is a rival crew, he's gonna end up fighting Zoro at some point. I hope.
Dog, we could start talking about current theories with Bradley a little bit.
Yeah. It's gotta happen.
You've unlocked a tier of like discussions that we are still having to this day that you can now participate in because you have most of the pieces to the puzzle to talk about these theories. But yeah, I also think Shiryu is likely Zoro's final opponent. If Blackbeard turns out to be like the final boss, he might not be. He might be like penultimate or something.
Yeah.
But I feel like if they are doing matchups with the Blackbeard crew, which I think they will, given the size of the crew is roughly equal to Luffy's, Zoro versus Shiryu would be my go, and then Sanji versus Jesus Burgess, and Usopp versus Van Augur.
Yeah, that's all I'm thinking.
Maybe Lafitte versus Brook. Doc Q's got to fight Chopper somehow. I don't know how.
Somehow they'll make it work. They'll make it work.
They got guns.
They do. Oh,
it'd be great.
They sure do have guns.
Yeah.
Ivankov pretty torn, pretty puckered out. It's worth mentioning that like Blackbeard only didn't die in this arc because Shiryu saved him. And at first I was like, wait, Shiryu found an antidote, but I thought there was no antidote. And then I remember the thing with Luffy was that he got hit by so many types of poisons that there was no combination of antidotes that could get them. But Blackbeard's crew only got hit by the Hydra, which is just a neurotoxin, so it's one kind of poison. So.
And like it stands to reason that Shiryu, having worked with Magellan, would know like where to get the antidotes from.
Yeah, the infirmary definitely has antidotes. They mentioned it.
Yeah, because he's probably poisoning people on the hour, you know.
And they're like, "All right, let's not let them die."
Yeah.
Well, on the hour, he's shitting because that's his character.
Yeah.
It's worth mentioning that Magellan.
He only works 3 days. He only 3 hours a day.
It's worth mentioning that Magellan fundamentally did not lose. I mean, like he lost his goal, but as a fighter, he did not lose. And
undefeated.
And that's kind of weird, right? Because feasibly, we're gonna run into Aokiji and Kizaru and Kuma in the future, right? Like, we already run into them in Marineford, but they don't die in that arc, so feasibly we can still run into them, and Luffy and the Straw Hats can beat them. But in my mind, there doesn't seem to be a reason for Luffy to ever come back to Impel Down. So it's like, unless he comes back for Bon Clay or something at some point in the series. But, like, it just stands to reason that Magellan might go down as the one enemy Luffy didn't get the run back on. That he didn't that he lost to and then came back to defeat. It's very possible.
Yeah, because Luffy doesn't have an immediate reason to go back, and it's like, why would Magellan leave Impel Down?
Yeah.
He runs the place.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Unless he's like called out to a war, like it, maybe.
Yeah, and even then, like, you know, were he to fight in a war like the Paramount War or some shit, I feel like he'd end up hurting as many Navy people.
Everybody.
Hey, Akainu has zero problems with that. All right. On the battleship.
Yeah.
On the battleship, there's a couple of interesting interactions. I think the major one is Jinbei apologizing for Arlong. He's like, I'm so sorry that he terrorized the East Blue and your friends' lives. And Luffy and Boogie find out that he's a warlord now after he's been so clutch this
Yeah.
I really like this conversation between Crocodile and Jinbei, because there's this feeling of almost like, God, what's it like? Words are escaping me, but it's like you said, regret with like Arlong, but like Jinbei is the first son of the sea, and this is kind of why I like that title of his, is that he is almost the only representation that people get to see of the fishmen. Does that make sense?
Yeah, because fishmen are marginalized and racist upon, and they mostly live in Fisherman Island. So you either get Arlong terrorizing your life, or the occasional pirate fishman. Wait, there are no fishermen marines either. Like, that's Omega racist. Not that I think about it.
Yeah.
And, you know, I think the way Oda kind of drip feeds us fishmen from the start of the story is really clever in this regard, because, you know, our first exposure to fishermen is Arlong and his crew, and they're just fucking horrible. And then so later on, when all of these people are hating on fishermen, you're like, yeah, they're a little fucked up. And then, you know, you realize that, oh, you know, maybe the only fishermen that are generally exposed to the public are people like Arlong, who like purposefully go out and cause trouble, and a lot could just be like Jinbei, who are actually really strong, but in the grand scheme of things, kind of.
And Jinbei like joined the government. Like he actively tried to be a positive role. Bradley, do you remember any fishmen between Arlong Park and Sabaudi Archipelago?
There was Tom, and he was
Tom,
a good dude.
And there was also Kokoro.
Yeah.
That's
Maybe fishmen not so bad.
Luffy and the gang. Yeah, but Luffy and the gang didn't meet any other fishermen between Arlong Park and Sabaudi, if I remember correctly.
There's a fishman there's two fishmen in Foxy's crew, but yeah.
I want Jinbei to give Arlong a spanking.
Yeah.
I do think it's interesting that he says you're right, fishmen are barbaric. Interesting that you would like say that about your race. Maybe they're I don't know. But it's funny coming from like what I would consider to be the most honorable man in the series so far, even though he's a pirate and a warlord. Like, who's more honorable than Jinbei out here?
Nobody.
Like, it's kind of refreshing. I feel like I would be bored by this kind of character in any other series, but like it's like why characters like Weld and Clockblocker, like just straight up good boys in Worm, are so enjoyable to me, because there's so many like morally gray and fucked up individuals where it's like, optimism is good too.
Yeah, like it's just like an unnaturally nice and honorable dude that you can't help but admire him, you know?
Yeah, but then they kind of fuck up.
He's also not like, but he's also not like a cutout Sith board like Boy Scout. Like when he's in that jail cell, he looks like he's about to bite that guy's arm off when he tries to get Jinbei out of the chains.
There's a little beat in Marineford that we'll probably skip in the grand scheme of things, but I'll just bring it up now. That he's like, he has a flashback talking to Ace, and Ace is like, "Hey, if I don't make it, can you take care of my brother?" And she's like, "Whoa, you're overreading my kindness here. I'll help your brother if I like him." Turns out he really likes him. So
guess what? He's still helping him.
And just the fact that Crocodile's here chilling, talking to them, like this dude tried to blow up a country. Like let's not forget.
And didn't even kill a single person, that bomb.
Man, what a failure.
I think people died in the war that happened, the Civil War, maybe.
No.
A stray bullet might have hit someone just wrong.
Somebody may have broken a finger. Maybe.
We can't be making these jokes. Maybe. We can't be making these jokes since we've read Marineford.
That's true.
Yeah.
The gimmick is done. All the characters learn about Boogie's past in real time, which I really like. And
I also really like that Boogie really, really did not want people to know about this too.
Yeah.
I think it really speaks a lot about his character that he really wanted to go to the East Blue and just not have to deal with
Any
anything.
competition.
He's kind of lazy. Like, he would love glory and satisfaction, but he doesn't want to really work
Train.
hard.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
I mean, it's worth noting, like, the one thing he cares about is Captain John's treasure. You know, like, that's his driving motivation, is getting that treasure since early on. He's got a lead to it now with the bracelet Luffy gave him, the tattoo. And the last thing that this volume really has to offer us is the knowledge that Gold Roger is Ace's dad, which is some pretty monumental knowledge.
And the Blackbeard tattoo on Ace's back, is that the tattoo that used to be the other symbol?
Not a swastika, it was a manji, but yes.
Yeah, that's why I said other symbol.
Yeah.
You're right. It is now just the cross. I think it's been the cross for a little bit. I think since like
it's been
Jaya...
a cross since Ace's cover story. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a.
What is happening with this site? Okay, hold on. I think I went backwards there for a second.
You know what? Let's swap over to My Hero Academia.
My Hero Academia talks. Worm boys are back, baby.
I've read.
Oh my god! Wait, are we in Marineford now?
Yeah, and I really like. I think we got a glimpse of like countries and the East Blue, West Blue, North Blue, South Blue, and it's just so cool to see how varied the world is.
Yeah.
But dude, this panel, seeing all the warlords of the sea in one place, holy shit!
Keep in mind, Boa is 6'7". Look at her compared to this dude. Oda just said fuck everything in this page. We're gonna make these dudes seem like the biggest gods, which again I think is a good use of his perspective shifting. I just don't like when people like the size of Moria casually exist everywhere for no reason.
Yeah, I didn't realize how gigantic Doflamingo is.
Yeah, Doflamingo's super tall, even in scale.
Yeah,
this is out of scale.
And Mihawk is just like the coolest character design in anything. I'm sorry, he's so cool. He is so cool. I love him.
I really like Mihawk.
I can't wait.
Rereading the series, I'm like, Mihawk's so fucking cool, dude.
He is the best.
He's always on point.
I cannot wait until post-war reactions.
Discussions. Yeah,
that's about it.
We get to see the. So I think this chapter has the Gold Roger thing, but I want to point out that this is the first time we see modern Akainu.
Yeah.
I love this page. Seeing all the three admirals together and the warlords of the page previously really sets the stage for the power scale that's about to happen.
And Sakazuki, man, he just looks like a hard ass, you know? That jaw.
Yeah.
I do not want to cross this man. For my friend, like
He's scary.
I was a friend's best man recently, or not best man, groomsman, and we took this photo. I was Aokiji.
No way.
Yeah.
Cool.
It was a very cool photo.
And for Christmas, I'm getting Bradley the SpongeBob SquarePants merchandise.
Keep that away. So what do you think about Ace being Roger's son? We'll wrap up this volume with this talk here.
Yeah, this was a huge fucking reveal, right? Because, you know, we knew they didn't have like the same biological parents necessarily, Ace and Luffy, but most readers, I think, would have assumed they were half brothers. They had different moms.
Yeah.
The reality is they're not even half brothers. They're
just blood brothers, quote unquote.
Blood brothers, dude. And holy shit, right? Gold Roger had a son, and it's Ace. Are you shitting me? And
go ahead.
Oh my God. This is like a moment where I think I was describing this to Willer as Ace feels like a chosen one.
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
He feels like a chosen one where he has this like epic quest and he's the fucking Pirate King's son. And after this moment, you know, you look at Gold Roger's face and you're like, oh my God, Gold Roger's literally Ace, but with a mustache.
It's so prominent in Oda's current. It is so prominent in Oda's current art style. We've seen extended scenes with Gold Roger now that are very exciting, and it's just old Ace. It's just old Ace just standing there, and it's like, wow, this is awesome. I think Ace got the freckles from his mom.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
Oda in SBS said he notoriously forgets to draw the freckles, so his
Yeah,
assistants.
I think
handle
he
this.
said that he has actually forgotten to draw them way more often than he's actually drawn them.
They're barely here in this page, so it's like
They're not even in that page.
I mean, there is this on my
Oh.
screen or is this real? There might be. Do you see this pixel here?
There's like one. I think it's sweat.
Yeah.
Could
That's
be.
sweat. That's
No,
not. That's
no.
not a freckle.
Below
There's
it
no
is
freckles on that
sweat.
page.
No, right next to the line. You see that freckle? No, you gotta believe
Oh,
me,
I
dude.
see it. Yes, it's on my. I see it on my screen too.
Trademark.
Anyways,
One freckle.
so not to get into the events of Marineford, but I think Ace's relationship to Gold Roger and what happens to him really sells a theme that Oda is going for, and that's the found family theme, and that your bloodline doesn't matter, and that comes up a lot more later. And it's not a really hard theme, but I think this is one of those points where like it really kind of solidifies the idea of that where you come from doesn't matter; it's where you go.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
'cause-
you go first.
like Ace's life from the start was ruined by this guy he would never meet,
Yeah.
and he has grown to resent Gold Roger, just like all the people who want to kill Ace resent Gold Roger. He's like, oh, I just horrible, horrible man, and my life is doomed from the start because of it. And he has this family and this pirate crew, and in the same way, Luffy never really had a family aside from Ace, and I guess Garp,
maybe.
Luffy doesn't fuck with that guy a lot. So
Yeah, they're not. Garp is not a particularly good grandfather. I'm just gonna say it.
yeah, Luffy
Yeah,
has
it makes me sad,
Luffy has like a true family in his
Yeah.
Straw Hats.
Luffy does not give a shit about his lineage, and like
Yeah.
so many of the Straw Hats don't. Like we know nothing about Zoro, Sanji, Nami. Like we know nothing about their real parents. We know about Bellamere. We know about like Zeph. You know their real parents, not their blood
Yeah.
parents.
Because like Zeph is like a found father for Sanji.
Hero look.
Yeah.
And then like Robin barely knew her mom. Frankie's parents left him behind. His family was Iceberg and Tom and Kokoro. So it's like
yeah.
It's
It's
more
prominent.
it's more than a minor theme. I think like it's
Dude, Luffy got some
solid.
Yeah.
Whitebeard energy. Luffy taking in all these lost souls.
Yeah, that's true. I mean,
But
that's what the Straw Hats are all
I
about
think-
at the end of it.
Yeah, but like to me, this is the point where Oda's like, like I want to make it clear that for the purposes of our heroes, the heritage doesn't matter.
It's
Um,
really
and
subversive. I mean, that's enough for this.
Yeah.
Talk. Let's
Yeah.
take a break and
There's
and
more
go
to
into,
want later, but
please join us.
at the end of the
for-
volume, I think there's one more.
No, that's
Yeah.
it. It should. This is all my notes. We're ending it here. I'll say Dan was also mentioned. Oh no, we do get like the little explanation of how this happened. How you feel about like Portgas D Rouge holding a baby in her uterus for 2 years? Holy shit!
I'm like, if people in One Piece can live to be 140 pretty casually, then I'm like, I guess you can force yourself to hold a baby. Like,
kills her.
One Piece bodies are different than our bodies, I guess.
Don't forget that like willpower is almost literally a source of power in this. So
Yeah.
she's just a badass.
Yeah, look at that fucking
got
panel.
hockey in her
It's
uterus.
Ace. It's Ace with a fucking
It's
mustache.
just Ace talking to Garp. It's just. What are you doing here?
It's just Ace and Luffy.
Now his Luffy's big smile. His smile was
Oh, yeah.
big
Yeah.
Luffy. I think that's it. Boogie opening the
The
gates.
only
is
other thing I
hilarious.
would say is that, the only other thing I would say is that it's interesting that Garp has enough respect for Roger to actually do this for him and then hold on to this secret as long as possible, or
Yeah.
at least not like actively try to like sell him out.
I don't think Garp is a good grandfather, but he's a great friend. You know,
Yeah.
the fact that like he did this for his rival, like they were rivals, but I guess they had like a Kobe Luffy style relationship at the end of the day. You know,
I
Man.
personally think
Kobe.
that Garp and Roger have the same like ideals, but believe in different ways of achieving those ideals, and what they
Possibly.
want to do with their
Man.
opinions. Yeah,
When we learned about Ace's mother and the Navy going around the world trying to find this baby to kill it, and also like ordering to kill anyone who might be hiding him, I'm like, man,
That's fucking dark.
the Navy's
Yeah.
such good people.
Hey,
so
and
and
good.
it's the world government decreed this, I believe.
Yeah. And the Navy was cool with carrying it out.
The Navy totally
And then
killed babies. Let's just say, let's call a spade a spade. They murdered babies.
Yeah. Babies. And then around this time, they were also killing Tom and blowing up Laura. Don't forget that.
That was a bad year for them. That's a mulligan year.
We forget about that.
Yeah, they do.
Officer.
They forget about a lot of things.
It was a bad year. All right. Okay.
Officer, time skip.
Time skip, officer. Please join us as we
Yeah.
talk about all of Marine Ford in our next talk. Goodbye.